Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mina. In this video, you're going to learn how to draft this milkmaid dress. If this is what you're interested in, please stick around. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. So the first step is to draw out a starting line. This starting line is also going to serve as my shoulder line. So I'll go ahead and input all my vertical measurements. So I'll take my shoulder to bust point. The next one is my shoulder to under bust, which is 14.5. Then the next one is my shoulder to waistline, which is 16 inches. I'll go ahead and mark the same thing here so I can have a straight line when I'm rolling it across. Bust point, that's my under bust and my waistline. So the next step is to plot my basic neckline. So from the center front, I'll come out by 3 inches, then I'll go down by 3 inches. Then I'll use my ruler and curve it, my curve ruler and curve it. From the center front, I'll mark my shoulder measurement, which is 7. So from that point that I marked, I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'll connect it to my neck width. Okay, so from that line, from the shoulder slope that I just came down by, I'll go ahead and mark my chest line. My chest line is 7.1. To determine this, what you have to do is to divide your bust measurement by 6 and add 1.5 to it. I'll go ahead and make the lines more visible with my marker pen. That's my chest line, the bust point, my under bust, and my waistline. So the next step is to also take my shoulder measurement on my chest line so I can have a straight line. So the next step is to achieve my armhole curve. So on this shoulder line, I'll measure what I have, then I'll determine the midpoint, which is also half of my shoulder. Then from that point that I just marked, I will come in by ½ inch. This is going to serve as a guide on how to curve my armhole. Then I'll go ahead and use my stretch ruler to connect it from that midpoint back to my shoulder slope. Then I'll use my curve ruler to connect, but before then I'll have to take my bust measurement. My bust measurement is 8.5. I'll go ahead and mark it. I'll go ahead and use my curve ruler to connect from the bust measurement that I just marked back to the midpoint. I'll go ahead and use my marker pen to make it more visible. The next step is to take my bust span measurement, which is also known as nipple to nipple. Mine is 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I'll go ahead and mark it on the bust point, on the under bust, and also on my waistline. Then I'll use my ruler to connect the dotted lines together as shown. So the next thing is to take half on one side of the line and half on the other side of the line. This is to determine my darts. I'm using 1 inch for my dart, so half on one side and half on the other side, which is 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect it back to the bust point as shown. So the next step is to come up from my under bust, guys. From my under bust, I'll come up by 1 inch. Then I'll use my curve ruler to connect it back to the under bust. So that leg. So the next step is to come out by ½ inch from that shoulder line that I marked initially. Then I'll go out by ½ inch and mark. I'll connect it from that ½ inch back to my under bust with a curve. You can see how I place my curve ruler, right? Connect it back as shown. I will also extend the line to my armhole curve as shown. The next step is to place my curve ruler on that line that I just came up by. I'll go ahead and curve it back to my chest line as shown. So the next step is to input my accurate measurement and also add allowance to it. On my chest line, I'm going to mark my bust measurement, which is 8.5. I'll go ahead and add 1 inch for seam allowance. Then on my waistline, I'll go ahead and mark my waist measurement, which is 6.7. The dart that I took, which is 1 inch, I also replace it. That is 1 inch. Then I'll go ahead and add 1 inch seam allowance, just the same thing I added to the bust measurements. Okay, then I'll go ahead and connect my bust measurements to my waist measurement as shown. Then I also extend the line on my chest line. Then I'll go ahead and cut it. So I'll be using this front to trace the bag instead of starting all over again. So here is it, guys. I've gone ahead to place my front on a new paper in order to trace the bag, and from the center front, pay attention to where I extended by 1 inch. From the center front, I went ahead to extend it by 1 inch for my zipper allowance. You can as well use 1.5 for your zipper allowance, but I use 1 inch for my zipper allowance. You can see how I'm tracing it, guys. I just traced the side front, and where I'm tracing right now is the armhole. I'll also trace the side front. Then I'll go ahead and transfer the darts to the bag. So I want the back of my dress to be deeper than the front. I'll go ahead and use my curve ruler to connect it as shown. Then I'll go ahead and extend it to my zipper allowance. I'll go ahead and label it. So the next step is to plot our bag dart using the dotted lines we traced from the bag. The next step is to trace it out. So from the waistline of my back pattern, I'll go ahead and take out 1/2 inch. That's from that zipper allowance. Then I'll extend it to the upside slantly. You can see what I did. You can see how I placed my ruler. This is to eliminate zipper bulge that we normally have at the back. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut it out. So we are back to the front pattern. I did not trace this cup effect out because I wanted to use this pattern to cut the back first. You can see how I'm tracing it out, guys. So the next thing is to divide the cup into two. So we'll be using slash and spread method. This is one of the cups that we just cut out. So I'll go ahead and split this paper using 1 inch, like 1 inch apart from the next one. Go ahead and mark 1 inch. Then the next one, 1 inch, just like that. Then when I'm done with the marking, I'll use my scissors to split them apart. So the next thing is to number the pieces. So I have like 7 pieces here. I'll go ahead and arrange it on the wider paper that I introduced. I'll be spreading it 1.5 inch from each other. You can see after the first one, I'll leave like 1.5 inch space. Then I'll bring in the second one. I'm going to do the same thing to all of them. When you place the first one, use your pin to secure it. Then go ahead to mark the second one. You can see what I'm doing, guys. When you've spaced the next one by 1.5 inch, ensure to use your pin to secure it before moving over to the next one. You can actually decide to spread it by 1 inch or by 2 inches. It actually depends on how full you want it to. So if you are spacing it by 1 inch, it will not be as full as when you are spacing it by 1.5 inch. And if you are spacing it by 1.5 inch, it will not also be as full as when you are using 2 inches. So it's based on preference. So now that I'm done with my slash and spread method, I'll go ahead and trace it out. The next step is to go ahead and cut it out. So we'll be gathering it back into these W effects fronts that we have here. We are going to cut like 2 of it. So during the cutting aspect and the sewing aspect, you understand what I mean. So I want it to be a dartless dress. I'll go ahead and manipulate this dart. Go ahead and close it up. So just pay attention to how I'm going to do it. I'll slash one dart leg open. Then I'll go ahead to use this other side to close it up just like so. Then I'll use my solo tape to tape it down. Note, guys, I should have traced this that also on this other part before I go ahead to cut it. So if you are doing yours, just go ahead and trace it first before cutting. But what I'm going to do now is mark from my center front. I'm just going to mark my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4. Then I'll go ahead and tape it from there. Okay, I'm also going to do the same thing for the back pattern. Okay, So I'll go ahead and slash one side of the dart leg, then I'll use it to cover the other side. You can see what I'm doing. Just cover it like so. So guys, we are done cutting the back and our front pattern. This is what we'll be using to cut on our main fabric. I really don't want this video to be too lengthy, so in our next video we are going to do the cutting and the sewing together. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please just click on the subscribe button. Also like the video. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell so when I post the next one, you'll be the first to be notified. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next video. Bye.